Hey everybody, and welcome to another segment of AstrologyAnswers.com's weekly forecast. My name is Terence. The week begins on Monday, March the 3rd, 2025. And I always like to start with where is the moon for that day, because the moon represents the emotional tone, the public reactions. So we start the new work week with the moon in Taurus. Taurus is persevering, it's grounding, it's steady, it's calming, can be stubborn, but it also can be persistent. But the big thing is it's more of this calming energies. But the moon, it just entered into Taurus on Monday, but by 7, 8, 9, maybe 9 a.m. Pacific time, the moon will form a hard angle, a square, to dark compulsive Pluto. So that could be an hour or two Pacific time when you are feeling emotionally distraught, upset, your emotions are taking over, but it only lasts an hour or two. And then the rest of the day with the moon in Taurus, your nerves will be calm, you'll be more steady. On Tuesday, as the moon continues in persevering Taurus, in 7, 8, 9 a.m. Pacific time, it's going to be sextiling or in harmony with assertive Mars. Moon-Mars period can trigger a lot of drive, ambition, passion. By early afternoon Pacific time, now the moon is in harmony with Saturn, taskmaster, responsible Saturn. This moon Saturn allows us to take on more responsibilities, feel more grounded, good for business. But by 6 to 8 p.m. Pacific time, the moon in Taurus will cross over unpredictable, liberating Uranus, which has been in Taurus since 2018. And so once a month, when the emotional moon, the public moon, crosses over Uranus, it could mean an hour or two for you personally of a lot of emotional excitement on the positive side or emotional upset, just depending on other factors in your own horoscope. On Wednesday, the moon enters into Gemini. Gemini is flexible, adaptable, restless, very different than when the moon's in Taurus, which is very steady energy. And with the moon in Gemini, you're much more restless and anxious and running around. The moon goes into Gemini at 4:30 a.m. Pacific time, but by mid-morning, it's going to be in harmony with communication Mercury and profound Pluto. So this triggers a lot of powerful, positive, insightful energies. That's just with the moon, which the public will be feeling more emotionally mid-morning Pacific time. But for the entire day, discerning communication, business savvy Mercury will be sextiling or in harmony with Pluto. Sextile is, and overall, it brings in positive opportunities, but you got to grab them. And with Mercury, it could be what you are discussing, learning, thinking about, but very positive with Pluto. So your thinking could become much more profound and deeper. Good for studying, good for researching, good for really talking about philosophy, psychology. On Thursday, the moon continues in Gemini. Gemini, again, it's triggering all this restlessness, but also this flexibility. Your mind is going all over the place with being stimulated with all kinds of new ideas. But the moon in Gemini will square or form a hard angle to more restricted Saturn, but not till about 5 to 7 p.m. Pacific time. And during that time, you might be more worried. You might be taking more responsibilities. They're taking on a more serious tone. On Friday, the moon continues in Gemini, but goes into nurturing emotional Cancer at 8:30 a.m. Pacific time. So when the moon was in Gemini, we're more in our head. We do lots of thinking. When the moon goes into Cancer once a month, it's more of the feelings, more from the heart. Cancer is more nurturing. The moon is actually the ruling planet for Cancer. And the sun in Pisces is going to be in harmony with assertive Mars. So the sun is putting a real spotlight of confidence on that assertive, ambitious Mars, giving you more the confidence to assert yourself and take new action. On Saturday, that moon in Cancer will be in harmony with the sun in Pisces, because they're both water signs, and at the same time, the moon is aligning with Mars, which continues in the sign of Cancer. So the moon Mars, it's more positive because it's favorable with the sun, is more of this passion, this dynamic energies, and as the moon is in harmony with the sun. When the moon and the sun are in harmony, it's as if everything flows more effortlessly. There's more ease. It's more comfortable with relationships. But this is happening to the Mars and to the Sun by late afternoon, by 5 to 7 p.m. Pacific time. This is very favorable energies for going out on a Saturday night, or any kind of celebrations, networking, partying. But you're feeling all this passion, and being with the moon in Cancer, maybe it's about staying more entertaining at home, or maybe it is being more involved with family. And on Sunday, the moon continues in nurturing Cancer, but by early afternoon Pacific time, it's going to be in harmony with empathetic, compassionate Neptune. This moon, Neptune, can be very healing energy, very spiritual energy, very charitable energies. So that's early afternoon. By 3 p.m. Pacific time, the moon leaves nurturing Cancer and enters into fiery, dynamic, romantic, creative Leo. The moon in Leo, with the moon in Cancer, there's more of this desire to just stay close to home, hang with family. But when the moon goes into Leo, that public tone is more outgoing, more playful, more romance, more entertaining. So I want to thank you for tuning in, and I hope to see you next week with my next segment. Until then, be safe and well.